Welcome. Today I'd like to talk about The Eternals. It's Marvel and Disney's new superhero film and another attempt by the cum guzzlers in Hollywood to spread feminist misandry and racist propaganda against black people. Let's start off with the feminist misandry. The Eternals are a group of comic book characters who first came into our lives in the mid-70s. Not super popular among comic book readers during its time, but interesting enough to have its own movie. There are about 20 to 25 relevant Eternals, and about 5 or 6 of them are women, which means that the majority of the characters are male. Why are the majority of characters male, you may ask? Well, that would be a stupid question, but I'll answer it anyway. Since the 1930s, when superheroes became a thing, comic books have always been geared towards males. And that's because males have historically had an interest in those types of stories. For whatever reason, the majority of girls have never cared for that kind of thing, so naturally, when you're creating a comic book story, you create it for your audience, males. So the main characters are normally going to be something a boy would look up to or strive to be, and that is a strong masculine character. Of course, women need to be represented, and the small percentage of girls that may also have an interest in these stories and need representation as well. So you also get female superheroes. Characters like Supergirl, She-Hulk, Power Girl, Rogue, Black Canary, Storm, Hawkgirl, Captain Marvel, Batgirl, Wasp, Wonder Woman, Psylocke, and many, many more. So while the majority of characters are males, you have a big number of female characters that boys and girls can look up to. But of course, since the majority of readers are males and have penises, then the majority of the characters created are created for males. Now let's get back to this stupid fucking movie. In the Eternals film, you have 10 heroes on display. Half of them are female. Now that's not a bad thing, unless you're rewriting the original story to fit in with your misandrist anti-male agenda. In order to make this film more diverse, the filmmakers had to change the genders of male characters and make them females. Why are we erasing men? Makari, Ajak, and Sprite are all male characters, but for some reason they felt they needed to be women. Why? Are male stories and characters not important? How would people feel if we remade Little Women and changed half of the characters into males? What about a Sex and the City remake with all men? Maybe we can change Charlie's Angels into Charlene's Angels and cast 3 men as the angels. Why not? That is kind of stupid, but you get the point I'm trying to make. They already decided to do these things with films like Ghostbusters and Ocean's 11, where everything is reworked to exclude men. Would it be okay for us to start erasing women from things the way they're erasing us? Of course, I wouldn't mind if they brought female heroes to the big screen. I paid to see both Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel in the theaters. I didn't really love the Wonder Woman movie, and I hated the shit out of Captain Marvel, but that's because they were crappy movies. I initially paid money because of the relationship I have with the 2 female characters that I've been reading for years. I kind of like the Wonder Woman character, and I love the Captain Marvel character and a whole host of other female heroes, and I love the idea of bringing them to life on the big or small screens. But I hate when other characters that I know and love are changed around just to fit some stupid fucking agenda, or to state what's really being done here, to try and market them to a new audience. Stop destroying the things I know and love in your own lazy fucking attempt to make money. What was the logic in changing 3 of the Eternals from male to female? Do you idiots think that more women will be interested in your shitty movies just because there are females on the screen? No, they won't. They already tried that. This concept isn't new and it never works. If you aren't lazy and you work to create a great story and a great film, then people will give you their money. If you make shitty garbage, then it will fail, no matter what group you try to pander to. We've had comic book movies made with female stars and they failed because the writers and the producers were lazy and made garbage. Barbed Wire, Tank Girl, Catwoman, Elektra, all failures because people were being lazy, and that's what this is all about. The Furpo brothers, I think that's their names, Furpo, The Firpo brothers, 2 guys, Kevin Feige and Chloe Zhao, 4 lazy idiots who made garbage and are now trying to make sure that they make their money back by pandering to groups who've never cared about this product. Now, let's get to the racist propaganda before I run out of time, and this is directed against blacks. This is Fastos. He is a comic book character in the Marvel Universe. He is depicted as a handsome, athletic black man who is superpowered, intelligent, and good with his hands, like a black Hephaestus. This is Brian Tyree Henry. He's an actor in the nation known as America. He is a gorilla-faced, pudgy black man who is also a good actor. Who in their right mind thought it would be a good fucking idea to pick this burnt marshmallow man looking guy to play a fucking superhero? Who would see Fastos when looking at this sack of laundry? When has a production company ever picked an unattractive white man to play a square-jawed symbol of heroism? Never. If you look at the white heroes in this movie, they picked 2 fairly handsome males to portray these characters, just like every other superhero character in the history of film. When it's a white, heroic fantasy character, they cast a handsome male. So what happened here with the black character? Why did they pick a guy who looks like a bungalow baby? A diverse superhero film where you'll have children of all races coming to see heroes that they can look up to and aspire to be. The white boys have 2 fairly handsome men. The Western Asian boys have this fairly handsome man. The Eastern Asian boys have this strong, fairly handsome man. And the black boys have this pudgy, misshapen reject. What was the mindset behind that? Why did the white people in charge decide to cast handsome, masculine-looking men for every character but the black character? Oh, and why the fuck is the black character the homosexual? Why are white people obsessed with blacks being homosexuals? They wanted to put a homosexual character on the big screen? Great, let's do it. One of my favorite comic book characters is a homosexual. His name is Shatterstar. He was actually in the last Deadpool movie. Oh, but I guess because he's white, they didn't want to make him a homosexual. When it comes to bringing characters to the big screen for little boys to look up to, white people don't want their children seeing themselves as homosexuals. I wonder why. Maybe that's a lifestyle they don't want to push onto their children, because they realize that if you push that agenda onto your young boys and they start to adopt that lifestyle, then white babies will stop being born, and then whites might disappear. But they have no problem doing that with us blacks. Why are they so obsessed with pushing this lifestyle on us and trying to force this idea on our children? And this isn't something new. I've been seeing this for years now. Let's go down the list so you guys don't just think I'm fucking paranoid. First, we have the Orville. In this show, they've created an entire race of black males who are all homosexual and who hate and reject women. All of these characters who are portrayed by black actors and who have brown skin, similar to the skin color of black males, who have personas and voices that match black males, are all homosexuals and they don't like women. All right, well, that's one. Then we have this show called Troy, Fall of a Nation or Fall of a City. I don't fucking remember. This show is about European people. And in this show, you have Achilles, the famous white male who was a great warrior and who was practically unkillable. For some unknown reason, in this white show about white European people, they make the white Greek male known as Achilles into a black man. They then proceed to make him into a homosexual for the first time ever. And they make his homosexual lover another black man. All right, that's 2. Well, we also have Sabrina. It's another show on Netflix. In the Sabrina comic book, you have a character named Ambrose Spellman, who is Sabrina's cousin. In the comic book, Sabrina is white. And so, of course, her cousin is also white. Oh, and he's a homosexual. For some unknown reason, though, in the show, instead of putting a white homosexual male into a show that's going to be geared towards children, They make this white girl's white cousin black. So now the only black male in the show is a homosexual and is shown having sex with other men. All right. Anything else? Of course. Then we have the third season of Black Mirror, another Netflix special. The first episode of this show has two black male friends who are both harboring sexual feelings for each other. Two black male friends. The main star, who is married to a beautiful black woman, has lost interest in his beautiful black wife, and he yearns for his black male friend. What? All right. Anything else on Netflix? Recently, I saw this show on Netflix called Love is Blind, and I made a video about this as well. This show is about heterosexual people meeting and getting married. For some unknown reason, the only black male that is portrayed on the show is a homosexual, and so his relationship with the black woman fails. A show that is specifically about heterosexual people meeting each other, dating, and getting married, and the white producers cast all heterosexual white males, and for some unknown reason, out of all the males on the planet, decide to cast a homosexual black male for a show about heterosexuals. Still think they're not trying to push an agenda after all that stuff that I just went through? Looks like racist propaganda directed towards the black community. Maybe someone figured if they push this lifestyle onto blacks and their children start to adopt it, then the blacks will stop reproducing and then they'll disappear. I don't know what other reason they could have to do that. Why are white-run studios, white producers, and white writers constantly portraying blacks as the homosexuals? Where is this coming from? They make a movie that includes Shatterstar, a well-known homosexual character, but they remove the fact that he's a homosexual. Instead, they make the Black Valkyrie from Thor a homosexual, and now Phastos. There is no mention of Phastos being a homosexual anywhere in the comics, so why pick him? And why make it into such a big deal? Even if you look at the cast on Wikipedia, they list Phastos as homosexual lover. They don't mention the love interests of any other character. Why is Phastos' love interest such a big deal? No news articles or big stories about the love interests of any of the other characters, not even the main stars. But for Phastos, big news articles about his husband being cast. I wonder why. Now, I don't care that a homosexual character is on the big screen. As I said, Shatterstar is one of my favorite characters, and I would pay money to see him in a movie. Well, maybe. If there's homosexual love scenes in the movie, I probably would avoid it. But I wouldn't care about that. If it's an organic thing where an existing homosexual character is being portrayed, no problem with that. Even when it comes to other types of stories. If you had a black homosexual writer who wrote a story about black homosexuals, I may not watch it, but I wouldn't give two craps about it. It's just like that show Empire. It's written by a black homosexual who's writing about a thing that he knows about, something that he's experienced in life. So I won't watch the show, but I'm not going to complain about it and write stories about it. Black homosexuals exist, and so of course they're going to be portrayed on television. But this isn't an organic thing. It's white heterosexual studios coming together and deciding, well, we're going to portray the whites in our shows as heterosexuals, but we're going to put blacks in and make them the homosexuals. That's weird to me. So I don't have any problem with homosexuals writing stories about themselves and putting it on the big screen. It's just someone writing about what they know in life. But that's not what's going on here. White men and women are creating stories portraying themselves as heterosexual and making the blacks in their stories homosexuals, and they're doing that for a reason. As I said, if Marvel and Disney wanted to put a homosexual superhero on the big screen, they have existing homosexual characters to choose from, like Shatterstar, or hell, they could do an Alpha Flight movie, which would be fucking great. An Alpha Flight movie, and they can showcase North Star. North Star is a Canadian superhero in this group called Alpha Flight. Wolverine fought alongside them at one point. North Star is white, and he actually got married to a man in one of the comic books. I think it was in like early 2010s, I believe, or the late 2000s, something like that. But North Star is a white homosexual character, and they have a homosexual wedding in one of the comic books where he gets married to a man. So you have characters to choose from. But instead of putting two existing, well-established and well-liked white homosexual superheroes on the big screen, they turned Valkyrie from a white character into a black character just to make her a homosexual. And then they changed Fastos, a black, strong, masculine character, into a homosexual and give him a husband. That ain't a fucking coincidence. So yeah, I'm done with Marvel for good now. First, Captain Marvel comes out and takes a jab at men. Then Avengers Endgame comes out, and that was just a lazy, disappointing piece of trash. Then this Eternal shitfest comes out, taking another jab at its faithful male audience, and also drumming up some racist propaganda directed towards black people in their attempt to reshape black society into a homosexual society so that they can erase us. So I can take a hint, Marvel. Multiple jabs at men and at heterosexual blacks. So as a heterosexual black male, I guess I'll just stop bothering you with my money. Fuck off.